This is the beer we're going to brew today. It's a Pastry Stout. Pastry Stouts has become very popular over the last years and can best be described as a dessert beer. It's a very sweet beer where you add sugars and cakes and Oreo cookies or donuts, whatever you want, to make it taste like a dessert. It's also a very strong beer, high ABV, from 10 to maybe 14% ABV. It's not a beer that you chug down pint after pint because of the high ABV and the big taste of the beer. So I have canned mine in these small cans, and it's the first time I ever brewed a pastry stout. I have thought of it for many years, but I didn't really know how to approach it. But when Amundsen Brewery released the beer kit called Dessert in a Can, I bought 2 kits, and today we're going to brew. Earlier this year we had a new homebrew shop in Norway called Hopstore. It's Amundsen Brewery, located in Oslo, that has started also to sell beer kits and other stuff for homebrewers. And they have released a beer kit that I think sounds very interesting, and it's this dessert in a can. It's a pastry stout, which is a beer style that I have never brewed before. It's something that I wanted to brew for a long time, but never got the chance. I have brewed many stouts, but the difference between a pastry stout and a normal stout is well, it's like a dessert, as this name suggests. It's sweeter, and it's often has either vanilla, rum, or in this case, salted caramel chocolate chip cookie. So to brew on my Brew Tools B80, I have bought 2 of these kits. So it will give me about 40 liters of beer. They have provided a very nice instruction manual. They have listed all the ingredients and what to do here. And it also has a QR code to get the recipe in Brewfather app. You can also find the recipe in the Brewfather library. If you're not able to buy it in Norway, you can download the recipe in Brewfather and you can see what ingredients are used. There's a total of 9 different malt types that goes into the malt bill, and there's some milk sugar and brown sugar, or deremera sugar as it's called in at least in Norwegian. Just 50 grams of Tettnager hops per set, so for me 100 grams. And it's fermented with US 05. They have included 3 packs per set. And the thing that makes this beer extra special is the aroma that you get in this little tube. They just describe it as aroma mix, but I think this is the caramel. They sell this separately. I don't know the availability in other parts of the world, but here you can either buy the whole sets or just the ingredients on its own. You're supposed to get an original gravity of 1105 and a final gravity of 1035. That's a high final gravity, which makes the beer sweet. And it says ABV of 10.5%. Yeah, so that was a quick walkthrough of the recipe and the beer kits. I have ordered the malts uncrushed, so I will go outside and crush the malts, and I will fill 50 liters of mash water into my B80. And then I'll go to sleep because it's the evening now, and I'll start the brew day tomorrow. I think I'll need a bit of time to get that original gravity of 1105. I think I'll mash for a few hours and stir maybe a few times. Some argue that 60 minutes of mashing is all you need. You get all the sugars that you can from the malt, but I have mashed overnight many times, and I know that yield is greater if you mash for a longer time. I think it's not because of the conversion of the starch needs more than 60 minutes, but it's kind of like reaching all that starch to start the conversion. So the mashing will take a few hours, and also I think I'll need to boil more than 60 minutes. In the recipe in Brew Follower they say boil for a long time. Boil, boil, boil till you reach that original gravity. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. That's why I'm starting tomorrow early in the morning, so I have the whole day to finish the beer. Okay, let's go outside and crush the malt. Yeah, and then the malts have been crushed. Now it looks like this. I used a crush grade of 1.2 millimeters, and there's this full bucket and half that bucket. Here's my monster mill. Mash in. Here are the salts. And then the second bucket. That's a total grain bale of 16.2 kilos. That's the most I ever had in the brittles. It's not that easy to stir now. It's quite thick. It's so thick. It's a water to grain ratio of 3.1. Okay, we're mashed in, and I'll just use the manual mode on the brittles today, and I'll just mash for a few hours. This is the first step at 65 degrees centigrade. And I'll stick this mash temperature probe into the mash so I can see what the temperature inside the mash and not just in the tank or the pump is. Then we are about 4 hours into the mash. The mash was so sticky, there was almost no circulation, so I added half a bag of rice hulls. That's about 250 grams. Tried to stir it in as good as I could, so the circulation has become a little bit better. But I see with the mash temperature probe that the temperature inside of the malt pipe is about 2 degrees lower, 1 to 2 degrees lower than the outside of the tank and the pump. So I raised the temperature to 68 degrees, and now it's 66.3 inside here. So now it's time for mash out, so I'll set the temperature to 78 degrees. Then we're finally finished mashing and I'll start to sparge. Okay, raising up the malt pipe. I saw that the heating elements were not covered by wort now, so I quickly turn off the heating elements. Otherwise, yeah, you can get a real bad burn. Okay, then I'll continue lifting it up. Yeah, you can hear it's dripping a bit, but this is a typical stuck mash. A malt pail like this is hopeless. Some flaked products and all that malt. Yeah, you're doomed. Yeah, this is gonna take a while today. I haven't even started sparging, it's just the malt pipe itself that drains. I can still see the heating elements. This speed, I guess the Brewday will take between 10 to 12 hours. Then I have adjusted the valve for the sparge. This is the sparge water heater I'm using today, my very first brew kettle. So the sparge water goes in there, into the tank is blocked, so it goes from here and into the machine. So now I can start the pump, and fresh water, the sparge water, will go through that manifold. Well, I just have to adjust this one to this position, and now we can start pumping the sparge water. You see it goes from black to invisible. Ooh, that was a bit much, I think. Yeah, so in a few hours I guess I'll be finished sparging as well. At least now the heating elements are covered with wort, so I can turn on the heating. I have to cheat, it's impossible to just wait, it's too slow. So I'll do something that you're not supposed to do. I'll stir the mash while sparging. Sometimes a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. Many hours later. Jesus, this took some time. I think it's been about 1 hour of sparging. So, but now I think I'm finished. It's about, I can see the 49 liter marking, and there's 1 or 2 liters in the hoses. So that makes either 50 or 51 liters of total volume. And that's enough. Maybe you can see it on the back side there where the 50 liter marking is. Now it's at 49. Slowly does it. And I'll place it on the floor and lift it down. Okay, then I've taken out a little sample to measure the original gravity, and we have just started boiling. So at this time it's a good idea to add the milk sugar and the brown sugar. Okay, in it goes. Try not to splash too much. Same procedure with bag number 2. Getting hot in here, so I'll put on the steam hat. Okay, this is the steam hat, on with the latches. And on with the condenser, on with the water, and on with the rubber seal. Whew. This way it gets a lot less hot in here. Okay, then I have just measured the original gravity. That was before I added the sugars. It was supposed to be 1084 and I got 1083, so I'm happy with that. And since I was so happy with the original gravity, no, the pre-boil gravity I mean, I'll add the hops now. It's supposed to boil for 1 hour. I'll of course measure the gravity during the boil, so I can check and see that I will hit or almost hit my target. That was 100 grams of Tettnager. It's from Germany. With 20 minutes left of the boil, I got the final gravity reading of 1109, so that's already 4 points over the target. So the long mash time paid off. So now it's 15 minutes left and I'll add a Verflock tablet and some yeast nutrients. And then I'll also start sanitizing my set chiller with the boiling wort. Steam hat is off. I'm sanitizing my transfer hose and I have thrown in the turbinator, which I of course forgot before I put on the steam hat. So last minutes of boil will be without the steam hat, and yeah, you might see it on the camera. It's just so much steam without that hat. That hat is and steam condenser. They are well worth their money. So we're just 2 minutes left of the boil, and I'm gonna take a new reading so I can see what my actual original gravity is. Yeah, we're at the end of boil, and I'll just take a little sample here I don't need that much like that, so I can see what my original gravity is. All I know is that I'm above the expected gravity, so I don't really care how much it is now, but it's good to know. Okay, then I'll start chilling the wort by turning on my water. Okay, then I actually remembered to turn off the heating element, and now it's just the pump at 100%, and I have turned on the water, so we are cooling the wort. And I can see that the return temperature is 29 degrees and the pump is 85. So here is the chiller setup. Wort in, water out, water in, wort out, and back into the kettle. And we can see some indication of a whirlpool. It's not very strong. I see that the dip tube is pointing a bit too much upwards. Okay, then I'll oopsie daisy, some hose trouble. Yeah, of course you needed to, some spillage always. Then I'll attach the transfer hose to the unitank. And I need to clean the floor. Yeah, the return is down to 18.9 degrees now, so I'll start pumping the wort onto the unitank. Yeah, now we're filling the tank. And the level was about 42 liters in the brew tools. Yeah, we're almost finished transferring the wort, and at this time I'll aerate the wort for 2 minutes using pure oxygen and this OxyVand. This is to give the yeast a good start on its journey in our wort. As you can see, we are finished transferring the wort, but there is still some wort trapped in our hoses, so I'll use some CO2 to try to push it out. Yeah, on with the CO2. Watch the hoses getting emptied. Yeah. Off with the CO2 again. So I guess it's a couple of extra liters you get by doing this. Okay, that was 2 minutes of aeration. And then we have a 6-pack of US-05 yeast. The recipe says to rehydrate it, but I have stopped doing that many years ago. I just pitch it dry. One, two, three, 4, 5, and 6. Sprinkle on top. Yeah, let me get some light in here, and we can see the yeast starting to rehydrate in the wort. And we can see the tilt reports an original gravity of 1113. So let's see what the Easydense says. So I have hooked up my phone, and so that was the end of the brew day. It's been a long brew day. It's 10.5 hours since I started this morning. So the only thing left now is adding the caramel aroma, which is said to be done after the active fermentation is done. So I'll do it maybe after a week. And I'll set my unit tank to about 0.8 bars of pressure and let that yeast work on that high high gravity. So all I got to do now is clean everything up. months later, I'm standing here today with the beer. It's been maturing on the can for about 6 months, and today we're going to taste it. Though this beer style is not supposed to be highly carbonated, you should low carbonate it at about 2.1 volume CO2. And here it is, all total black in color. And it has a super nice sweet caramel chocolate aroma to it. So skål, and let's taste the beer. It's so much flavor. It's like a flavor explosion in the mouth, and it has that super nice sweetness and that full body. You can really taste that it's a high ABV beer, and a high ABV is like it's lifting up the rest of the flavors with that sweetness and that caramel and chocolate, and it's just super pleasant. I honestly think that this is one of the best beers I have ever brewed, and the recipe is just awesome. Thank you, Amundsen Brewery, for that nice recipe and beer kit. And you can also feel just from one sip that, yeah, it has alcohol in it, that's no doubt. So I had the beer in my fermenter for about 4 weeks, not because I had to, but because I could. And I let it cold crash for a long time before I kegged the beer, and then I canned the beer. So the original gravity was at 1112, and the final gravity ended up at 1031, making it a 10.6 ABV beer. And to my likings, that's plenty enough of alcohol. I normally prefer those lower ABV beers, but sometimes it's nice to enjoy such a rich in flavor and big beer. So Pastry Stouts went from being just a niche beer style, and it's now an official beer style, and every brewery with respect for itself brews at least one type of pastry stout. Yeah, that's it for this time. Thank you for watching, and an extra thank you to my patrons. See you guys in the next video, and skål!